Folks, we've talked a lot on this show about Project 2025 and its implications for African Americans. Well, the folks at the Philadelphia Tribune, one of the oldest black newspapers in the country, dropped this front page article, and it caught my eye. And I want to be sure for us to actually, no, guys, I need the full front page. I need you to show the full front page. You cut it off because I need to show the headline and everything. I posted on social media. If y'all can find that, I would appreciate that because it gives you a better understanding of how they sort of position this article. And we're going to show you that. And joining us right now is the author, Christina Kristofic. She is the investigations reporter, editor for the Philadelphia Tribune. Glad to have you here. Christina, again, it was really important in terms of how y'all framed this story, and it really jumped out. And so talk about the conversation y'all had, why you wanted to shine this very specific spotlight on the impact on African Americans of Project 2025.
We saw a lot of, well, first of all, thanks for having us, Roland. And we saw a lot of people talking online about Project 2025. We saw a lot of things that we were like, does it really say that? And, we saw also some things that were clearly misinformation. And we wanted to take a look and see, what is this? What does it really say? And what exactly will it do for this country or not for this country? And we knew as we were going through it that this was going to be a big front page piece.
And so obviously it's 900 plus pages. And so what was your narrowing process?
So it started with me reading all 922 pages. I will confess that I sort of skimmed near the end when I got to chapters.
I bet that was fun.
Oh, yeah. It was, some real light reading. When I initially volunteered to read it, I said, I can do it in like a week. And then as I got into it, I found things that there were acronyms I had never heard before. There was jargon I had never heard before. There were things that I didn't remember happening the way that the authors said they happened. For example, they blamed the Flint water crisis on Obama. They praise Arizona as an example of a good education system, while Arizona is consistently in the bottom 10 nationally. And so I had to Google and say, wait, is that real? Am I remembering this correctly? But I got through it. Decoded it, and then I spoke with a bunch of Black leaders in and around Philadelphia about what stood out to them in Project 2025. And I gathered all their thoughts and all my thoughts and sat down with my editors, and we agreed to our list of top 10 things that we thought would have the most disparate impact on Black Americans.
And obviously, we talked about this here. One of the big ones really is the anti-racism focus of Project 2025.
Yeah, they refer to it as, they say they are not trying to eliminate civil rights. They are not trying to eliminate diversity, equity, and inclusion. They say they are trying to protect the civil rights of all Americans. Sort of all lives matter goes to Washington, if you will. But what that deals with, though, is it has real implications in terms of ending programs and shifting resources to fight this anti-white racism. They want to eliminate every staff position in the federal government related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. They want to eliminate every committee, every department, anything within the federal government related to diversity, equity, inclusion, race, gender, reproductive rights. They want it gone. They want to completely rewrite all federal laws, regulations, contracts, everything to remove all references to race, gender, reproductive health, reproductive rights, sexual orientation, et cetera, et cetera. The list goes on. They want to completely remove all references from
everything. And then they want to use the Department of Justice.
Which means it is very difficult from a data standpoint to understand racial inequities when it comes to health, when it comes to economics, in so many different areas. And so it's sort of like, oh no, let's just get rid of all of that. And you have no way to track it. You have no way to study it. And so all of a sudden their whole deal is, oh no, everybody's the same. Don't discuss those things.
Right. They want to rewrite Title VII and have the EEOC prohibit public and private workplaces from collecting any data on the race and racial classifications of the employees. They want to use the Department of Justice to enforce all of this. They also want to eliminate the Census Bureau's National Advisory Committee on Racial, Ethnic, and Other Populations. This is a committee that works to try to find cost-effective ways to get people of color to participate in the census. And because traditionally Black and brown people have been undercounted, and they want to try to get people to be counted so that they can be represented properly and funded properly. No, they want that committee gone.
And again, so everybody understands when we talk about the census, we talk about funding, we're talking billions of dollars that would not be going to African Americans and other minority communities. This is the full front page, not what we showed earlier. I want people to see the actual full front page so they can understand how y'all wanted the focus to really be on Project 2025. Questions from my audience. I guess I'll go ahead and start with Teresa Lundy. She's there in Philadelphia. Teresa, go ahead.
Well, thank you so much for actually putting us on the front page. I was not only in awe of it, but was very interested and happy that this was the front page. There has been constant conversations happening in Philadelphia about Project 2025. So one of my questions for you is, what really incited you all to do this? Was it just the national approach, or were you hearing it from voices and clergy and community locally?
It was that. It was the national angle. It was hearing it from people we knew on social media, people we knew, out drinking or at the coffee shop. Also, I wanted to argue with some of my friends about it. So it was a mix of factors. It felt like it was such an important part of the global conversation that we had to participate.
Great.
Gavin.
Christina, thank you so much. You spent countless hours reading 900 or so pages of 900 plus pages of Project 2025, researching, trying to find answers to the questions that you had. But I think what's so dangerous about Project 2025 and part of the strategy behind it is that because it's so long, its authors know that most people will not do any of that. They're not going to read it, much less, try to research it or do any additional work to understand it. I think that's why it's so important, the work that you've done. And again, a testament to Black journalism, Black media. Roland, again, for you highlighting this issue so often on this show. I guess one question that I have for you, Christina, when I talk about Project 2025 to those around me, even people who might be voting for Kamala Harris, sometimes there's this skepticism that Donald Trump will actually try to or be able to execute or implement the policies that are in Project 2025. Are there strategies, I guess, as a journalist that you've sought to employ, to convince your readers to, I guess, really not underestimate, I guess, the implications of some of the things that you write about, in this case, Project 2025?
So thanks for that question. One of the first things that we address in the article is, the Heritage Foundation produces this document. They call it Mandate for Leadership, and they produce it every presidential election cycle. And Republicans look to this thing every time they take office. And the Heritage Foundation claims that Ronald Reagan enacted 60% of their recommendations before the end of his presidency. And they also claim that Donald Trump enacted 2/3 of their recommendations before the end of his first year in office.
Wow.
And And so I think when you say that and when you share that with people, like that makes it more real. It's otherwise it's kind of easy to dismiss it as like, oh, this is some fantasies from the Heritage Foundation, or Donald Trump didn't really write this. It's not his, but he might not have written it, but he definitely used a previous edition as his sort of like playbook for his presidency.
Thank you.
Well, look, first of all, we have the history. He followed the Federalist Society, everything they wanted to do. There's no doubt in my mind he's going to do whatever Project 2025 lays out, because that's his people. And in fact, at his rally today, who did he have introducing him there? The author of Project 2025, Rebecca.
So my question for you is, so what's next? Are you all going to take, I guess, the research that you've done? Are you going to animate it? Are you going to put it into different forms? How do you really inject this into popular culture in digestible pieces for people to really understand what's going on? Because my thought, I'm thinking about like the rollout, like with the 1619 project, even regardless of what happens on November 5th, there still needs to be some type of public awareness, because the idea of some of the things that are in Project 2025, there needs to be public education around it so people understand the need to reject it and what the underlying pinning underneath the type of agenda that would push Project 2025. Do you all have plans to do something along those lines?
We're currently working on some plans. This is part of it, appearing here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Next week, I'm going to appear in a panel discussion with Omar Sabir from the Philadelphia City Commissioners and 2 college professors to talk about Project 2025 and how it could affect Black Americans. We're also working on some social campaigns around Project 2025 and our reporting. I can't go into too much detail about that because it's still cooking, but we're hoping to raise awareness everywhere we can.
All right, then. Well, Christina, we surely appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Have a great night.
I get it. The cost of rent, groceries, and utilities is too high. So here's what we're going to do about it. We will lower housing costs by building more homes and crack down on landlords who are charging too much. We will lower your food and grocery bills by going after price gougers who are keeping the cost of everyday goods too high. I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message because you work hard for your paycheck. You should get to keep more of it. As president, I'll make that my top priority.